Hello and welcome back to Learn It from a Layman. I am Carl Christensen and I'm joined by Tim. I try to win every award, Cox,
You bet.
but have succeeded only a small number of times. But
It depends on where you set the bar.
I mean, to be fair, everyone succeeds only a small number of times. Yours is just, you know, it's a rounding error, I'd say. Tonight we're going to be talking about the basics. Well, I don't think this is a basics series. This is more just infamous awards or infamous honors. Is that what we're calling it, Tim?
Dubious honors.
Dubious honors. Okay, dubious honors. Before we jump into dubious, so these are awards that Tim would actually not want to win. And as far as I know, Tim, you haven't won one of these yet.
Tragically, no.
I'm sure you'll rectify that in the near future.
There's always hope, yes.
Yeah. I wanted to discuss the fact that it's been a little bit since we podcasted, and this is, I'd say, mostly Tim's fault.
I'll take all the blame, sure.
Yeah. You're also going to have to deal with our angry listeners, so I'm going to send them your address when they ask.
Okay. Yeah, we could use some excitement. So, yeah, bring it. Of course, you'll have trouble finding our house amid all the other houses that look exactly the same.
That's true. Yeah, there's. I think we have a few listeners that have a pretty good idea where you live already. So I'm just going to tell them to get on, the whole picket in the yard bandwagon and let you have it. So
Cleverly, we've got a bunch of mud in our front yard, so they'll have a tough time.
Yeah, I believe in our listeners, Tim. Okay. Also, one other thing. So the last two episodes have been basics of UFOs and then basics of CFOs. I really missed an opportunity to make jokes about that last time, and I regretted it ever since. So I'm going to try to make sure that I'm on the ball this episode for any low-hanging fruit.
It's speaking of dubious honors.
Or I was going to say, speaking of low-hanging fruit, Tim.
Hey, I've never been fruity. I'm more of the nutty variety.
That's fair. Well, maybe both.
Yeah, but we're steering clear of that now, so we can. Yes, dubious honors.
Dubious honors. Let's go.
All right. Do you want to start, or should I?
You go ahead. Give us the first one here.
Okay. So I'm going to start and end with the thing that inspired this topic of the podcast, the Bulwer-Lytton fiction contest, which is one of my favorite things ever, and I think the best dubious honor out there. And I'll kind of explain, and then I'm going to go through some of the other dubious honors out there, and then we're going to end with the Bulwer-Lytton fiction contest because it's great, and you're going to love it, and you'll thank me forever. So, the Bulwer-Lytton fiction contest is inspired by Sir Edward Bulwer-Lytton, who was a Victorian-era novelist, and who is famous for penning the opening line of a novel that goes, "It was a dark and stormy night." So if you ever heard that phrase before, if you've seen in like Peanuts when Snoopy is riding on top of his doghouse with his typewriter and he writes, "It was a dark and stormy night." That's where it comes from, this novel. And it's a long and protracted, everyone knows that first part, but it's actually a really long, flowery kind of Victorian style starting sentence of this novel. And so with that as the inspiration, this contest is awards annually the people who can write the best worst starting sentence of a novel. And so you get all sorts of people taking a crack at writing really crazy first sentences of a novel, and it's a lot of fun. anyways, there's some real great examples of all sorts of stuff. So I'll share some examples at the end. But the Bulwer-Lytton Fiction Contest is not the only dubious honor out there. There are lots of parody awards, kind of based on the idea that, well, if people get applauded for doing really good and outstanding stuff and work, why don't we also have some fun applauding, with tongue in cheek, some of the worst stuff out there? And the results can sometimes be delightful, sometimes horrifying. And delightful and horrifying is probably a good way to start talking about the Darwin Awards.
Probably the most
Okay.
well-known of the Dubious Honors Award, I'd say.
Yes. Carl, why don't you, since I've been talking a bit, why don't you tell what the Darwin Awards are?
Well, I didn't do the research on this one, Tim, but I can tell you from just knowing the general information about the Darwin Awards. The Darwin Awards are generally posthumously awarded, right? So posthumous for
Yes.
the layman, meaning given to someone, awarded to them after death for having done something that essentially survival of the fittest would mean that they selected themselves out of the gene pool. So something pretty stupid. So I believe that there are a variety of I don't remember what something about a rocket shooting a rocket themselves strapped to a rocket into a wall. I don't know.
Like a makeshift rocket, right?
Right, something like that. I don't remember the specifics. I haven't discussed this with. I believe Tim and I discussed it with each other, other cousins, other family members in the past. But yeah, the Darwin Awards are. You want to stay off that list for the reason one that you don't want to. I mean, it is a dubious honor, but then you're also dead. So avoid this one.
Yes, yes. And a warning: if you investigate the Darwin Awards, just be be apprised that it will, it's kind of sad, going through and seeing what's been awarded. Just, you're reading about people's untimely passing due to really, really poor choices. And so, yeah, don't spend too long on it. It's a dark rabbit hole. But yes, Darwin, the description on the website says the Darwin Awards honor those who tip chlorine into our gene pool by accidentally removing their own DNA from it. Usually, with a very bad idea gone terribly wrong. So there's one of the most dubious of honors. Let's lighten it up a bit with the Ig Nobel Award, which is actually more positive. So the idea of the Ig Nobel Award, so it's spelled as a kind of jokingly a compound word. So instead of the word ignoble, it's IG and then Nobel, and it's kind of an anti-Nobel prize. So the Nobel Prize, going to the top, awarded to the people, kind of the cutting edge of research, doing incredible things to help out humanity in the sciences or economics or literature. So the Ig Nobel Award is, it's on its website, its byline is research that makes people laugh and then think. So the idea is that it's awarded to scientists and who are doing like kind of laughably absurd research, and just kind of things that seem outrageously goofy or silly. But kind of there's a serious idea behind it. The idea that sometimes things that seem kind of silly research can actually produce usable or interesting, knowledge. And so, anyways, oh, sorry, Carl, go for it.
Say that's not exactly a great analogy for the moon. Our work to get to the moon, but kind of analogous in the way that getting to the moon actually didn't end up doing almost anything for us. As far as it's not like we set up a base there. It's not like but all the work put into getting us to the moon provided lots of different scientific advancements and lots of different inventions that were very useful in lots of different ways here on Earth. So,
Yeah, yeah, and that one, of course, going to the moon would never have won an Ig Nobel Prize because it was an incredibly intrepid and
right. So there was a sportsman
endeavor.
analogy.
Yeah, yeah. That idea that the kind of sometimes the byproduct of research or a product can be more important than
Yeah,
than
yeah,
the actual original
uh,
intent or purpose of it.
right, right. I honestly, a better, I guess, a better analogy might actually be, a variety of different sports. Um, is that the sport themselves sometimes are uninspiring, at least as far as humanity is concerned, or but the amount of dedication, work, and time spent developing and honing one's craft actually does have a lot of benefits both for you personally and then also all the work put into maximizing an athlete's potential helps us learn how to handle the human body better. So
Cool.
some
Yeah.
there's probably,
So,
I mean, obviously, these ones are silly.
oh,
The Ig Nobel prizes are given to things that are more silly than sporting or going to the moon.
yeah. So, an example, Sir Andre Geim was awarded an Ig Nobel Prize in 2000, and I'm reading from the Wikipedia page here. By the way, sorry, but there you have it. In 2000 for levitating a frog by magnetism. So, you know, it's like, okay, that's cool. The one of the words phrases to describe the awards, the Ig Nobel Awards presented for discoveries that cannot or should not be reproduced. And
I just read
that
the title of one of them. This is for chemistry and geology. It says for explaining why many scientists like to lick rocks.
there you
So
go.
yeah.
Oh, here's a few others. The discovery that the presence. Oh, never mind. I'm going to skip that one. The research on the 5-second rule. And it's another one that got an Ig Nobel. That guy I talked about, Andre Geim, got his Ig Nobel for levitating a frog. Actually, he's the only person to get an Ig Nobel, and then 10 years later, he actually was awarded a Nobel Prize for working with electromagnetic properties of graphene. So that's
Oh.
kind of cool. He's gotten both.
Yeah.
And I see here the winners of the Ig Nobel Prize are awarded a banknote for the amount of 10 trillion Zimbabwean dollars, which
which is worth
I'm
very
actually
much.
looking to see if it tells how much it's worth. I'm guessing it's not worth that much.
Yeah, probably not. Okay, I'm
But
going to, okay, if we're done with the Ig Nobel awards, Tim, are we done?
well, I don't want to be, but I suppose we should be.
That is actually, so the Ig Nobel Award is probably one that you could aspire, actually. As dubious as it might be, it's not that dubious. If you achieve an Ig Nobel Award, you probably actually done something noteworthy. Um,
Yeah, you
and
you
mean it
did
bit.
something that required enough talent and skill and yeah to for people to take note of. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So worthwhile. Before I talk about our next the next dubious honor, um, I was gonna. So we get a lot of comments in from Spotify. That's where the majority of our listeners are from. And a lot of you followed us years ago, and obviously we've kind of slowed down in the amount of podcasts that we have done this year. Once again, contact Tim. Um,
Mahaha.
but I wanted to just mention a couple comments that we've gotten this year that I thought were worth mentioning. So we have the basics of trigonometry from many years ago at this point. Let's see, that's more than 4 years ago. But someone commented, going to fall asleep listening to this before my test. Do you think it will work? Seems unlikely
I
to have worked.
salute you.
Yeah. I appreciate the effort, and I think if you're going to fall asleep listening to someone, Tim is their worst choices, I think.
Well, you're not going to get a Darwin Award for that, but
Well, who knows? Depends if you're driving at the same time. Um, and then we have an episode, the basics of fraud, that we did a few months ago, and we commented on why you shouldn't. And one of the comments was, "I don't know what you guys are on about. The African prince in my inbox was actually kind of chill." So I do we listen. Well, Tim doesn't pay any attention, but I pay attention to the comments. So if you guys want to listen and drop a comment on any of our episodes, we have had a couple requests. Some we try to I try to fulfill the requests if you put them in on the comments. We also have YouTube that nobody pays any attention to. We actually stopped recording because I actually think it was hurting our listeners and viewers, I guess. Anyway,
our faces, yes,
yeah, it
have
was
that
actually
effect.
doing us a disservice. So, um, it'll still be on YouTube, but it'll just be uploaded as an image and audio still. But one request, Tim, and I think we did this a little bit, but I wanted to ask you. So, someone asked what our so this is in regards to the Evolution of Aviation podcast we did a while back. I think that was last year.
Ah,
The what's our favorite plane? And I did respond for mine, but Tim, do you have a favorite plane? I'll have to ask Matt and Cameron and Johnny later. But is there a favorite airplane of yours?
oh, well, you said airplane. I was going to try to go like Doctor Strange on you. Be like, the temporal
Airplane?
plane.
No, no.
Favorite plane? Oh, that's yeah. Okay, you know what? I actually have an answer for this. I just read recently a book on the Wright brothers, and so I'm going to go with their original biplane that they built and constructed, and the way that they tested it and developed it with such care and scientific rigor and innovation, figuring out how to make it turn. By the way, they did it by having it be flexible, actually, and they would actually warp the wings. They had these wire mechanisms that they could pull these levers and basically twist the wings to make it turn. Anyways, it was cool, and they were just head and shoulders above there were all sorts of people, including very well-funded and educated people who were attempting to make flying machines at this time, and they were just blew everyone out of the water head and shoulders. And so the original Wright brothers biplane is my favorite plane. There you go.
All right. Well, I would make fun of your choice, and I'm sure I will later. But um, the it does make some sense, though. I actually don't think you were on that podcast, and we did talk about the right flyer or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah. Oh cool.
Um,
Was I on that podcast? Maybe I wasn't.
I doubt it. You rarely are.
Yeah,
Um,
it's absence is my thing.
okay, I'm going to go to our next dubious honor here, and this one is called the Foot in Mouth Award.
One more, one more. The Blackbird. If I have to pick like a real actual like
Oh,
modern plane.
okay, that's a better one. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the right flyer. I can't really like trash on it. I just want to somehow make fun of you, but actually isn't a bad call. But the
It's
Blackbird
like
is my
making fun of
favorite
your
as
great
well.
grandpa. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can't do that. Can't do it. Um, no, but Blackbird is pretty awesome. But I said the A10, Tim.
Oh, cool.
A10
Well, it's
award.
an A and a 10. That's like two
I mean, it
top
can't be better.
rankings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to go with the B like 8.5, but it's just not as good. Sorry, I'm trying
Uh,
too hard. I'll stop.
okay, please do. Um, okay. Foot in Mouth Award. Looks like it wasn't, at least it hasn't been awarded in the last couple of years, but it was awarded, I think it says 29 times, and with potential for so many more. This is generally given, it says it's awarded to a public figure who has said something nonsensical, essentially. Something that a baffling comment made by a public figure is what it says. So let me give you a couple examples. So the inaugural award was given to Ted Dexter when let's see, it says that a senior figure in the Marylebone Cricket Club won the inaugural award for trying to explain a loss by the English cricket team by saying, maybe we are in the wrong sign. Maybe Venus is in the wrong juxtaposition with something else. I don't know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Again, I salute the effort there.
There's one from 2000. Alicia Silverstone said, I think that Clueless was very deep. I think it was deep in the way that it was very light. I think lightness has to come from a very, very deep place if it's true lightness.
That's fun. That is a fun statement.
Nonsense.
I will note with eyebrow raised that the Foot and Mouth Award was discontinued shortly after the Learn It From a Layman podcast, started to really take off. Significant? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, correlation in some cases is causation. So
yeah, I think it's just people, once we got on the air, no one else could hold a candle.
Right, there's just no competition. They just said, well, just subscribe to Learn It From a Layman.
There you go.
But yes, this is a fun award that was given up until the year 2022 was at least the last time it was awarded. But a lot of public politicians in particular, but actors and actresses have been awarded this, and fun time reading through the quotes there. So I can highly recommend. And this would be an award once again. Like I started off the podcast saying, Tim tries to win every award. This is one I could actually see Tim winning eventually.
Absolutely.
I mean, what was it that you did in front of your class a few years ago, Tim?
Oh, what didn't I do? Well, okay, there's a lot of things. What are you talking about the time I fell asleep?
Shoe? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I straight up fell asleep in front of my class while talking. That was fun. But yeah, and if I haven't shared this, then I'll go ahead and share it on the air here for science in the spirit of the Ig Nobel Awards, because this is the kind of thing that, what happens to the human mind as you fall asleep while you're talking? I feel like that would fit the qualifications for a research project that would win an Ig Nobel. But yeah, if you fall asleep while you're actively talking, then there's this little stretch of time, I think, where your brain is kind of like on the downhill slope into unconsciousness, where it just goes wherever and it becomes untethered. And so, yeah, I just was talking to them about an assignment and started to fall asleep, and random words came out, and something about like grinding a shoe, I think is what, so have no idea why that was good. But yeah, so really, foot and mouth. I think that would fit the bill.
Yes. So, one that we can all have fun with, and then potentially try to earn. So.
Oh yes.
All right, Tim, did you have any more dubious honors that you wanted to share?
We won't dive deep into it, but there's like the Razzie Awards. You get the Golden Raspberry. It's kind of like an anti-Oscars or anti-Academy Award, for worst acting and so forth. And probably not, unlike the Ig Nobel Award and the Bulwer-Lytton Award, probably not one that people are excited to get. Though I suppose maybe, if you subscribe to the philosophy that no press is bad press, then, there you go. Notoriety can certainly do things for you. But yeah, so that's a fun one with a long tradition. It's been around a while. Why don't I? Oh, say again.
I'm going to name one here that This is one I just learned about while doing some research for the podcast. That there are a lot of these are local awards, or essentially for a specific country, or there's specific ones for China, ones for Australia. So this is an Australian award. This is called the Bent Spoon Award, which is presented to the perpetrator of the most preposterous piece of paranormal or pseudoscientific piffle.
Ooh, that sounds like it's got potential.
Yeah, so they have to have carried out their activities in Australia, and there's a variety of these. Someone deemed them a little bit more political, but a lot of them are essentially just coming and lying online, and you know, people doing pseudoscience, doing pseudo medicine. There's a bunch of recent vintage for COVID-19 misinformation and stuff like that. But the award is given in Australia and looks to be current. So there was one from 2000. Some individual, Jas Muheen, for claiming one can live without food and water.
Oh, I think I heard about them. Yeah, that's a,
Yes. So high quality stuff. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting one.
absolutely. There is so much out there, the information age, and all of this information of such high quality.
Right, of course. I've never mistrusted anything I've read about anything.
And speaking of high quality, can I share some of the Bulwer-Lytton Award winners?
Yeah, shoot.
These are great. All right. Um, so, anyways, and they'll have a number of winners. They'll have like a grand winner and then winners in different categories. Here's one of the most recent ones. Mrs. Higgins' body was found in the pantry, bludgeoned with a potato ricer and lying atop a 50-pound sack of Yukon Golds, her favorite for making gnocchi, though some people consider them too moist for this purpose. But
Oh my.
okay, here's one of my
I'm
favorites.
guessing anytime you use the word gnocchi in a sentence,
Yeah,
it's just such a
yeah, this one had
fun word.
gnocchi and moist. That's a
That's true.
1-2 punch. All right, here's one. When the dead moose floated into view, the famished crew cheered. This had to mean land, but Captain Walgrove, flinty-eyed and clear-headed thanks to the starvation cleanse in progress, gave fateful orders to remain on the original course and await the appearance of a second and confirming moose. Anyways, they're just
Oh my.
great stuff. The stifling atmosphere inside the Pink Dolphin bar in the upper Amazon basin carried barely enough oxygen for a man to survive. Humid and thick, the air was full of little flying bugs, making the simple act of breathing like trying to suck hot Campbell's bean with bacon soup through a paper straw. You get some really great figurative speech. But anyways, there's adventure category, children's literature, crime and detective, fantasy, historical fiction, purple prose, romance, science fiction, vile puns, westerns, and odious outliers. Anyways, if you enjoy writing and good writing, it's just kind of a fun little treat, and they're short, so you can just read them and have a good time. So I know I'm geeky for like just wanting to read writing for fun, but this is good stuff. So I'm going to spell it for you guys so you can find it easily. Bulwerlytton fiction contest. The Bulwer-Lytton fiction contest. So there you have it.
Yeah, nice. That sounds. I mean, that's a fun one. Did you mention the Razzies?
Yes, but I only mentioned them. So
Okay, I was going to say I feel like you said it, but I didn't. I was otherwise occupied as I usually am while you're talking. So, um, the one I wanted to mention is, oh, sorry. Did you explain what the Razzies are?
Yeah, I just was like, it's a kind of an anti-Academy Awards.
Okay, good. Yes. Um, the one I wanted to mention that I think a lot of sports fans are familiar with, but not everyone is a sports fan, is Mr. Irrelevant.
Oh,
Um, and this is one that everyone who plays football, American football in this case, should aspire. Not everyone, but the vast majority of football players out there at the you know Pee Wee level or the high school level or even college could aspire to be the Mr. Irrelevant is the nickname given to the player selected last in the NFL draft in this specific year. Um, and so you're Mr. Irrelevant because you're literally the last person deemed worthy enough to be able to be drafted into the NFL, the National Football League.
huh.
Um, it is the case though that just because you were drafted last, I mean nowadays, and I don't know the NFL history well enough to say that Mr. Irrelevant was always. If you're drafted at all, you've done a good job. And there have been instances, even one of very recent vintage, of Mr. Irrelevant going on to succeed, greatly. For example, the most recent instance is Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers right now. He
Really?
was
He was Mr. Irrelevant, huh?
he was Mr. Irrelevant in 2022 and
Wow.
recently signed an extension for 265 million to play football. So,
I would
uh,
let people call me irrelevant for half that.
and I will call you that, and I'm not paying you anything.
Oh, come
Um,
on. Give me, how about 10 trillion Zimbabwean dollars?
did you find out how much that's worth?
No, but I'm going to look it up now. So
You say
give
these
me that
things.
thou owest.
Okay, but yes, Mr. Irrelevant. Some of these designations, you shouldn't be afraid to win awards in life that are meant to put you down. With the exception of once again the Darwin Award. Please be afraid to win that one. Please don't win that one. Any of these honors or awards that might seem condescending or meant to at least you're putting yourself out there and trying. So with the exceptions of ones where like you're doing something that's actively negative in the world, um you know the dubious honor is, at least in a lot of cases, still an honor. So it be it an ignoble prize or a Razzie, if you're out there making movies and out there doing science, maybe you can redirect your efforts if they really are not bearing fruit, but you're making contribution. So uh, I would encourage anyone, any vocation, to go ahead and lean in and do your best. And if your best is Mr. Irrelevant, maybe it'll end up being worth millions of dollars.
There you go.
Okay.
Good inspiration.
Oh yeah, we gotta end up with we have to end up the. I said I look at the comments. The single podcast. It's certainly not our most downloaded podcast, but the basics of astronomy that I did solo something like 6 years ago is by far our most commented podcast. And
Really?
in on that, yeah, like a lot for us. Okay, I should scope this to learn it from a layman. We on Spotify, I think we have something like 20,000 people that subscribe, and some small portion of those that actually listen regularly. But the that podcast has a bunch of people that have gone on, middle school kids. So Tim, middle schoolers listen to us here, even if they don't listen to you in school. Um, and
Mm.
they were commenting that they're interested in astronomy and that people getting on and encouraging them. So I love to see stuff like that, and generally the idea that of us putting things out there is for, uh, Tim, myself, Matt, Cameron, Johnny, whatever, to be able to share what knowledge we have and or acquire knowledge in order to share it. Um, and then hopefully have it be of some worth. The knowledge is relatively cheap these days, but your uh, your use of it is as valuable as it ever has been. So, when you acquire said knowledge, you vet it well, but then use it well.
Well
That's
said.
oh yeah. Soapbox. I'm stepping off.
All
I
right.
I think that'll wrap us up for tonight. I believe that we have something in line for history of the Macedonian capital or some such.
Yes.
Which is
It's
kind of hard to
it,
tell if Matt was being facetious, but um, I will assume that he's not because he likes that type of stuff.
well,
So,
and if he was, I'm the kind of person who will take something that someone was facetious about and run with it way too far. So, all in. Let's do this.
all right. Well, we will sign off here and join us again for the next podcast. Thanks, Tim.
You bet. Adios.